Welcome back, nerds.
Yay,
We're
he got
back. I know. Your resident nerds are here. My name is Nikita. I'm your local comic nerd.
I'm Gino, your resident weeb.
And we're your
Your
resident
nerds,
nerds. We'll
baby.
get that
Let's
synced
go.
one day, boys.
Usually at
girls.
the end, we get it pretty well, I'd say. But
Yeah.
you know,
Some of you might be wondering where we've been. I just graduated college, so I've been dealing with that. Gino's about to prep for finals and graduate college, so you boys have been busy. So we apologize. But I know it's been a pain. Your boy's body is sore. He celebrated this weekend. Let's just say that at the
it's
least.
Good. Congratulations on your
Thank you.
graduation.
Yeah. I know. I mean, for you guys, it'll be like a week ago, but for me, it was literally just like yesterday.
I would probably be graduating by the time you listen to this.
Yeah. And this might be a little different than a regular episode. It might seem a little shorter, but that's because we're actually changing up our release schedule entirely. It's something we planned during the time we had off. So instead, you'll be getting shorter segments, but you'll be getting them weekly as opposed to bi-weekly or every 3 weeks. So hopefully this is a way for you to get more content, especially through our YouTube. This will all be like on Facecam and everything. And we had a episode we recorded that just got completely just did not work out. We didn't think it was good, but we'll be releasing that as a lost episode on Patreon when that
interestingly
comes out,
enough, it'll be the last of that format, which I think is kind of
so if you do enjoy it, check out the Patreon and you'll find it there, and let us know what you think about this new release format. Shorter videos but more content, hopefully quality content. So yeah. And Gino, what are we talking about today? What are we starting off this format with?
Interestingly enough, the reason we're coming back as fast as we are is today's episode is going to be graded. Our previous episodes were also technically graded, but this time it's on me.
Yeah, there we go.
This time we're going to be.
Don't worry anymore.
Professor Morimoto, it's nice to see you. I don't think you'll be seeing me because we'll be sending her an audio file, but.
If she ever wants to see your face,
check out the YouTube, Professor
Morimoto.
YouTube. Check it out. It'll be great. I am this semester. I took Japanese cinema in a global context, and so this is my final grade. And today we're going to be talking about a very, I would say, on-topic conversation in regards to the Oscars.
Yeah,
because the Oscars were recently in the news. I don't know what we can count as recently anymore, but at the end of April, they definitely were pretty prevalent for a couple of different reasons.
They were getting roasted.
They were torn apart. First thing I can note, their viewer statistics based on Statistica.com were like crushed. They had already kind of been going in a downward spiral since 2014, losing millions of viewers each year. But the jump this year, I believe, was 23.5 million down to about 9.3 million viewers.
Yeah, they went under, literally lost 10 million viewers. And this is the first time the Oscars ever had less than 10 million viewers. So
it's pretty bad, you could say, all things considered.
I think it's deserved, but we'll get into that.
They got the controversy in regards to Chadwick Boseman's NFT giveaway. That was really, a lot of people got on to them for that, for I would say pretty good reasoning.
They milked Chadwick's death the entire ceremony and then didn't even give him honorary actor. What?
Yeah. But one that's more near and dear to our hearts in regards to the anime community is a topic that has been going on since God knows how long now, about anime not having as much participatory power in the Oscars. So for instance, the year that Your Name came out, it wasn't even nominated. If anybody knows about Your Name, it is a very popular movie. It is one that many people hold near and dear to your hearts. And so, my original project goal, Nikita, right, was to be like, I'm going to make the argument, why should anime be in the Oscars, right? Like anime should be in the Oscars.
Yeah,
there should be more of it. It would be great. And the more I've done research now into it, I am more of the mind that I don't think anime is ever really going to have a super strong hold in the Oscars. But I'm also of the opinion that you shouldn't give a that it won't. Sorry, you should not be bothered that it will.
Yeah,
not.
that's fair. Wait, are we allowed to? I was gonna say, are we allowed to cuss your professors?
You are allowed to. You are allowed to cuss. I'm not going to prohibit your freedom of speech, considering this is our normal podcast. This is kind of our norm, so it's whatever. I am going to try to refrain from cussing as much as possible.
I will for Professor. What was your professor's name again?
Professor Morimoto.
Morimoto. Okay. You said Morto at first.
Well, I apologize, but Professor Morimoto, Dr. Morimoto.
Perfect. Dr. Morimoto, yes.
If I cuss, Professor, I apologize. Oops. let's jump into it.
He's
Though,
got a
right?
bad mouth. I'll
I
be honest.
do have
Yeah,
a bad when I'm talking to my good friend Nikita over here. My tongue tends to
it's
slip.
something I actually want to work on. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to work on not cussing as much on these episodes, but sometimes
Professor
you just
Parker is
get.
just like, guys, enough.
He's like,
Stop
chill.
cussing. Okay.
Stay friendly family or family friendly. You want that family friendly rating. We're not getting it. But anyways,
let's swing back into it.
yeah.
The Academy Awards, the
Yes.
Oscars. Why do they
Dying.
matter? Why do they matter? Right?
Of
Like
course, in
why
the
have they
first
ever
place.
mattered? Really? Like we've talked about it. I mean, I was roasting it for saying that they only had 9.5 million viewers. And in terms of statistics, that's pretty low, but still that's 9 million people who decided they needed to check it out. And that's after a long historical legacy since 1929 of people repeatedly coming back to the Oscars.
Yeah,
the Oscars
it's about to
are
hit 100 years soon. I mean,
yeah, exactly. The Oscars are essentially a product of the trying to look for the organization name. It is the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences.
yeah,
Organization which I said has been around since the 1900s, and their essential goal, originally at least, I don't think it's the same anymore, was that they were trying to find the epitome of film, the what was groundbreaking, what was new, what was breaking the mold in regards to what we see for the motion picture arts. So,
yeah,
the best of the best. That's what they were looking for, at least in an American context,
yeah,
which has been pretty strong historical norm that we've had for all this time. The fact that there's a best foreign picture should speak to that, I think, normally.
Yeah, definitely heavily prevalent in America, primarily.
In case you don't know, it works. They have a number of categories that they base it upon. They have a specific Oscar committee, which you have to be qualified for and invited to after having numerous certifications in regards to actually working on films. So, for instance, you can't just be like a day one director or a day one sound. Nikita, you're like a sound editor at this point, right?
Yeah. Sound producer.
Nikita doesn't have any credits in any huge projects, unfortunately, so he would probably not be invited to the
Fuck you, Oscars. Oscars.
As much as I think you should be, because I think you edit our videos excellently.
Well, thank you. I don't even edit our videos. I literally just edit the audio. We have video editors. So we should nominate them. But yeah.
And I used to do acting back in the day. I was in a couple of short films, right? So like I should be invited. No, probably
he was
probably
an all-state actor. He won the award for best actor in the state, actually. So Gino's got some merit to him.
So you have to be pretty prevalent. You have to be pretty well known to be part of the Oscar committee or the specific committees assigned to each category, right?
Yeah. High standing. You have to be in the industry.
Let's talk about animation though in the Oscars, right? Animation's got a very specific, very special, I would say very special category in regards to how the Oscars operate.
Yeah.
First and foremost, it's a very new category. It's only one that was introduced in the early 2000s, 2002, I believe.
Wow.
With Shrek actually being the first animated film to win.
It would be Shrek. It would.
I mean, Shrek's an excellent film. I'd say. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember what came out in that year as well, but it definitely was deserving.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It is historical. Let's be honest.
I think
no one will ever forget Shrek.
I believe it's in the National Congress Library now. It's like cemented as a very like culturally important film.
Shrek is love. Shrek is life, folks. I mean.
That aside, though,
yeah.
That aside, all things considered, even when that the case, there unfortunately has been a lack of anime in the many years that have won. So far, there's only been one film that has been from Japan in the animated category that has won.
Wow.
Which would be Studio Ghibli's what was it called?
It would be a Studio Ghibli film, and I'm glad.
Spirited Away. I apologize.
Really? But didn't Spirited Away? No, wait. It came out in 2004.
2003 is when it.
2003. Okay, wow.
It was the second one, I believe. If my chronological time is order, it was.
So the Oscars had a good track record to start, and then just balls it up.
Yes, they did. It was unfortunate, but hey, It
at least we got one in the book. Spirited Away. Let's go.
Since then, it's been a lot of not Spirited Away. It's been a lot of American films. Some people have been really pissed off about it. I'm trying to think 2015 might have been a specific one that might have been the Your Name one that it went up against like Boss Baby, for example, and Boss Baby was nominated, but Your Name wasn't. And even if that's not the right year, the fact is that like Boss Baby was
Yeah.
nominated one year and Your Name wasn't, and like it's
Yeah.
really pissing people off. I went back to go look out for articles and such that talked about the topic. One of the ones that I'll be discussing towards the end of our conversation, which I thought was extremely prevalent, was the public broadcasting, PCB.
Yeah.
That's the yeah.
Yeah.
PBC. Thank you.
Yes, there you go. You
Public
got it. You got it.
Broadcasting
You got
Channel.
it.
Yeah. Literally had this full article talking about. They agree with me in the fact that anime probably won't make it to the Oscars and you shouldn't care. But they made a specific mention in regards to Your Name being a very significant time in which a lot of people were pissed off that it got like no recognition. So all that aside, we know it's a very important topic. There's some questions that arise here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so great. Anime hasn't made it. We know it's traditionally American film, but that's kind of changing. We hope in the future. Parasite just won Best Picture last year, and that wasn't even just in Best Foreign Film, but that was Best Picture. Like it won that. So maybe there's like a change. Like what are animators looking for out of these movies? Like is it really that there's a bias against anime, or is it just that anime doesn't like hold up to the standards? Fact is that question might not actually be relevant in regards to what makes it to the nominations and what
yes
doesn't.
Yeah,
that is the main problem. So excuse me, apologies
it's okay.
for the hiccups.
Your mic's freaking out a little. Oh, it's fine now.
Is it fine?
Oh wait, nope, it's freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, let me move the wire real quick.
Yep. For those of you that are watching, just so you know, this is something I want to keep this in. This is something we regularly struggle with. But like some of our older equipment, Gino has one of our older mics, but like when the wires are touching literally anything electronic that comes through, that's something we edit out.
Are we still good?
Yep, you sound good now.
Okay, fine.
Good to go.
Variety, I believe, dropped an article not too long ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 2020.
Is this going to be about how the Oscars are ran when it comes to like why and how they?
Yeah, I wanted to cite real quick just where I was getting from. Regardless, like regarding what movies get nominated and what movies tend to win in the Oscars, a large part of the time it has to do with like advertisement
or bribery.
There's a lot of financial incentive to watch certain films, to have other films be seen as more, I don't know if better is the right word here, to hold certain sway though over members of the Oscar committee, because Oscar committee technically they're just people.
Yeah, it's just people.
Like, actual,
Yeah.
Here, if you want to add to that, you can.
Quick fun fact. I think I mentioned this before in an earlier episode, but the Oscar or movie companies, when they budget and make a movie, you have to add for like paying the cast, the production, the editing, all that. Part of the budget is literally what they do to suck up to the Oscars. Like they will send them the movie early. They'll give them props from the movies. They'll send them like posters and stuff that no one else would get, signed posters, things like whatever they can to quite literally like bribe the Oscar committee. So it's part of their budget.
I also tend to think that I don't really appreciate the voters just because they are, I don't know, professional. I hate to like throw everybody who's on like any Oscar committee under the water and be like they're not professional, but I think what I will say is that there is a high potentiality of them not being professional.
Yeah.
Because there's not like set standards. You can be invited for being part of high-end projects, and like people like you in previous Oscar committees or part of the Academy, you get in. Like that's the reality.
Yeah. It's more of having an inside connection rather than like being the best of the best to have that kind of degree of judging that standard,
So the Hollywood Reporter released anonymous transcripts in regards to certain voters back in, sorry, I'm trying to see which.
Oh, you're fine.
This was back in 2015 again in regards to, so wow, I'm really throwing that 2015 number around for all of these.
That's just why
I don't think Your Name probably was for this year, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. It's fine.
Yeah. I think that was also the year that they started losing viewership. I think from
2014 was the highest. Yeah, but they had a huge spike in 2014, and that's why I said since then it's literally just been going down year by year. But there was this quote that was from an anonymous transcript, so take this with a grain of salt. But I do think the fact that the Hollywood Reporter like was recording this kind of gives it some merit.
Yeah.
This guy who voted for Big Hero 6, he said this. I only watch the ones that my kids want to see. So I didn't see the box trolls, but I saw Big Hero 6 and I saw How to Train Your Dragon 2. We both connected to Big Hero 6. I just found it to be more satisfying. The biggest snub for me was Chris Miller and Phil Lord not getting in with the Lego movie. When a movie that is successfully and culturally hits all the right chords and does that kind of box office, for that movie not to be in over these two obscure freaking Chinese fucking things that nobody's ever freaking saw. An apparent reference to the Japanese film The Tale of Princess Kaguya, as well as the Irish film The Song of the Sea. That is my biggest bitch. Most people didn't even know what they were. How does that happen? That to me is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. And so like
See, like right there, it shows you're judging off of
Yeah.
popularity and not actual quality. Like,
yes. And so like the blatant form of what I would say is racism, it also included in this guy's vote. This again isn't me like accusing everybody who's part of the Oscar committee, because I know some people have that argument that the Oscars are just like incredibly racist and like that's one of the reasons we shouldn't trust them. I do think there's an aspect of that in regards to it is primarily American films that are being judged. Go for it.
To add to that, there's always also been an issue in the Oscars where like Black actors weren't being nominated or had won Best Actor in decades ever. I forget the last time one actually did, but like that was like that's a prominent thing that a lot of people have complained about, and it shows like there is probably some racial disparity within the Oscars. And it shows this when it comes to international movies. Like that's probably part of the reason, I would say.
Yeah. So okay, so we have that on the table, that really like the way that the Oscars choose films is already kind of a fucked up process. I mean, outside of the idea that like art is subjective and whatever, because you can make a whole basis on that to just be like, why should we be listening to these critics in regards to what the new form of art is? I get back in the early like 1900s when like movies were coming out, and it's like like new innovations are coming out all the time. That isn't to say that new innovations aren't coming out today, but probably not to the same frequent level as what was being developed back in the early film period. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I still am okay with like that. I'm okay with like an award type ceremony where you kind of try to find the best of the best. It is still subjective at the end of the day, but I think it's still good to recognize that quality or game changing innovation when it comes like that in the industry. But it's not as frequent or as
I just think like I think people just give too much. Like I'm fine with the award system as well. I just think people give too much merit to the Academy Awards.
I don't think the Oscars should be the judge or standard for that merit.
They I would say supremely have the historical narrative to back them, and that's where it apparently comes from, is because they are one of the earliest like systems of awarding these films. But like really, based on the system that they have now and based on what I've been discovering in the research, such as the quote that I just read off to you, like
it's rigged.
I would say it's rigged. It's rigged, and I don't know necessarily if the people in the animation category fully know what they're talking about in regards to how they look at film, or animated film.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what I would hold. So at the end of the day, I don't think you should necessarily care. Like I said, I thought the PBS article was extremely compelling in this in regards to like listen, man, anime film doesn't have that same pool, and it might, it doesn't have the same financial pool in the US, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay. That's all right. It doesn't need to.
It's still incredibly successful.
I'd say it's still incredibly successful. I think we live in an era now where thankfully people can cement more of their own opinions based on like what I would say are more local reviewers, for example, like movie reviewers. I mean, hell, that's what we do, right? Like, we provide our I would say amateur movie reviews, and people have their favorites of those that are online that they can keep up with quite easily and base their opinions off of that. I don't think that we should be looking towards the Oscars as what necessitates like the best of film right there,
especially globally. Maybe in America, maybe you could say that, but not globally.
I would also agree with that for the most part. But yeah, what time are we at so far?
We're good on time. We can, if you have anything else you want to discuss, we can, or we can cut it here. My last like comment that I do want to say is like,
Yeah, go
or
for it.
I guess I do think I see anime films just because I feel like the industry in general is becoming more and more prevalent in America now.
Mm-hmm.
I do see them slowly creeping into the Oscars,
Mm-hmm.
especially with Parasite winning and stuff. It blows my mind that this year Demon Slayer, the
Yeah,
Mugen Train moving
yeah.
did not even get nominated when it broke records internationally. So like,
Well, so
uh,
yo, like that's the thing. It literally, so you saying that, right, drags it all the way back into what has influence, because what anime movies are being put into the Oscar nominations is Ghibli films. Who is Ghibli backed by in the United States? Disney.
Disney,
Like,
it's all Disney,
it's
baby.
all Disney.
Like that's why I'm
Literally,
so
like,
glad I love Spider Verse or Spider Man Into the Spider Verse because it's Sony and they beat out
yeah,
Disney. Like fucking love it.
yeah.
So I guess
So,
that's true because I guess even if they do go in, it'd probably be mainly Studio Ghibli and like Disney oriented films that have
mhm.
that budget that they can account for like the American Oscar committee. And like I do see anime creeping into the animation movie category. I think within the next 5 years, if I'm being honest.
Mhm.
But I hope fans don't give it merit because I see fans celebrating, being like, "We finally did it." And like for me, while that is awesome that it's like finally there, the Oscars are so corrupt and rigged as is to where it shouldn't be an accomplishment. I am okay with anime not getting into the Oscars. I'm honestly of the mindset that I don't want it to really ever be in the Oscars. It has its own not classification, but like it's set itself apart already from Western animation and Western culture, and has blown up globally to where I kind of think anime is above the Oscars. And this is coming from someone who's not even that big of a weeb like Gino, but like,
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm looking through the PBS article that I was talking about in regards to if
yeah,
there was anything else I wanted to specifically mention.
yeah.
Um,
That and also just the racial history with the Oscars.
yeah.
It's been a clear issue. I don't think that's something we can deny. So
Yeah.
at this point, I'm okay
So
with
like,
anime
yeah,
staying.
because like it's, so the hard part is too it's just like, I don't know. So there was an interesting quote in regards to the Your Name director, right? So
Yeah.
Shinkai, that he talked about the fact that he didn't get the Academy Award recognition, that he really just didn't care. Um, this is a quote. He said, "It's not healthy. I don't think any more people should see it. For me, it's an incomplete and unbalanced. The plot is fine, but the film is not all that perfect." So like he acknowledges his own fault in regards to like him not thinking that the film is perfect. But again, like I don't know, when it comes to looking for what is considered the best film. I first of all, I don't think a lot of the animated features that either have won or have been
Yeah.
nominated are also could be considered perfect, right? Like I think Shinkai is just like a really nice guy who is very self-critical of his own films, and that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I just think it comes down to the fact that like, yeah, there's too much industry pull over the Oscars to actually look at it as like subjective pieces of art. And I
Yeah.
can't say that that works for necessarily, again, every single voter, but I think that the fact that that is there and that happens kind of
Yeah.
ruins the process
Yeah.
overall.
Because at that, yeah, it's just I'm trying to think of like a better system, like an actual
Yeah.
committee of people that have merit to their name and like critique and review movies based on like actual quality and standard and not how much money's in the movie or how much they've been paid. Because you also couldn't do a general public vote because it's the same thing, a popularity
Yeah.
contest at that point. Um, so it's like, yeah, I wonder if anything will ever, because the Oscars are dying. Like they just hit under 10 million views this year, and I think they'll hit even less next year. So I'm curious if like something else will ever come up and kind of take its place.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
something a little less traditional and not like anything going on now, like the Grammys or any of that, or the Golden Globes and stuff.
Hmm.
Maybe even just like a like YouTube award show, and that just ends up getting really big and ends up getting on TV or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, I'd like to see something more in talking about like how it has affected the general culture rather than like you can tell, you can have objective like groundbreaking films and how they're doing it, but they need to separate the Oscars from like this idea of like it is again the highest like art value. I think that is where my problem
Yeah.
comes into it. If you're talking about that, it truly is about artistic innovation. Like, yo, sweet, I'm down for that. Like, I think you should
Yeah.
have an award show for that. In regards to like cultural relevancy and like how much impact it has had on like either the culture of the United States or like on an international culture. I think that is a much more prevalent conversation to have in regards to how art is affecting people.
Yeah.
Now that gets into like a lot of philosophy that I think is outside of the scope of this
Yeah.
project.
Mhm.
It's something that we could talk about in the future, perhaps from a Patreon conversation. I think it's a really interesting one to have, but I
Yeah.
just want to reiterate one more time in regards to the fact that the Oscars, while yes, have a very strong historical narrative and presence in the world of film, should not be seen as a end all be all in regards to what film you approach and the level of artistic subjectivity that you provide that film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
so anime again may or may not. Like I said, Demon Slayer, you brought up a good point. It like really kind of made a big wave, not only in Japan but also in the U.S., making it like
in COVID during COVID season 2.
Yes,
The actual
top of the
pandemic.
box office, beating out Mortal Kombat. Insane.
Yo, I actually didn't know that. That's kind of huge.
Yes.
Wow.
So.
And beat it out an Oscar award-winning movie, Spirited Away, in Japan.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Damn.
So like, I'm trying to think of a good way to conclude this. For the most part,
the Oscars are rigged. The Oscars.
It said what it needed to say. I want to leave on this quote by Matthew Lee, who was interviewed by what is his name? His name is Iman Smith in this article from PBS.
Okay.
Mr. Lee said, when it comes to people and the word of mouth, that's where I'm enthusiastic. Lee said, even if your name didn't get nominated, it's still one of the most talked about animated films on a global scale. And I think that's much stronger than any nomination could provide.
Bam.
So, yeah, I agree.
Mic drop. It didn't really boom arm, you know, but
well, that's the end of our Patreon episode number 2, or is this a normal?
No, this is a normal.
This is a normal episode.
Yeah, that's the end of our very first episode doing video and short form content for you guys.
So I hope you enjoyed it, Professor Morimoto.
Professor Morimoto, while you're at it, just like everyone else, you should check out Your Resident Nerd at Your Resident Nerd on Instagram and TikTok if you want more fun short form content. Minute long stuff. We got memes, news, updates, and things like that will primarily be there. We'll still do news videos probably on the YouTube, but that'll just be for like big news events that we can talk about more. But the smaller news stuff, you'll get that on our TikTok. So check us out on our social media and go and support our Patreon. That will probably be up this week. And we'll upload the Lost episode hopefully next week for you guys. And next week for you, we will have an Invincible review out for you guys.
Yes,
because that's been blown up. But yeah. I think that's everything, Gino. Right?
I think that's it. I think we've gotten our topic out for today. I'm hoping it was at least B worthy. Let's cross our fingers.
Let us know what you guys think. Like it, subscribe on YouTube, like it, comment, let us know. But other than that, I'm your resident comic nerd, Nikita.
I'm your weeb authoritarian.
What's your name? Weeb authoritarian.
Gino. The one and only.
And we're your resident nerds. We'll sync it at one point. All right, cool, guys. We appreciate it.